going on, my YouTube friends? My name's Jeremy and welcome to my channel. Got a couple more subscribers last night. Thank you. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, hit that like button, and leave me a comment down below. Today I am going to talk about all the things that go on while you're driving. There's quite a few things that you got to keep an eye on. So we'll talk about that today. We just crossed over into Kentucky from West Virginia. We are headed to Houston, and we've got right at 1,100 miles to go. We started out with 1,277. I was going to try to get it delivered tomorrow, but the latest appointment that they have is 1 p.m. and it would be really pushing it to get it there by 1 p.m. especially in Houston traffic and going through Nashville. Nashville traffic is always bad. So it's gonna. I'm gonna keep my 7 o'clock appointment on Monday, and the wife and I are going to talk about it this afternoon when she gets off work on whether or not I'm going to go ahead and go to Houston and hang out in Houston for a couple of days, or if I'm going to go home for a couple of days, or whatever. Those are things I like to discuss with my wife, especially since she's going to South Carolina on Saturday morning. She's taking her friends Kim and Jenny, and we're trying to get them to stay the night at the house so they can leave a little earlier, and that'll just kind of fill up all the rooms and the beds and everything. So, of course, I can always sleep with my wife, but I don't want to hinder them trying to get around and getting going and everything. But we'll, like I said, we'll discuss that tonight, and I'll talk to you guys later. So, I wanted to talk about all the stuff that goes around in the cab while you're trying to drive, because there's a lot of distractions that you can focus on, but it's keeping your wits about you and trying not to get too distracted while you're driving. So I heard that there's 160 decisions that you make each minute that you're driving as a truck driver, and a lot of those distractions or a lot of those decisions are subconscious. Like, you've been driving a while, you really don't have to tell your hands how to move the steering wheel to keep it straight on the road. Those are a lot of those decisions. I look at my gauges quite a bit, just to make sure that I'm running at my speed limit. My RPMs are where they should be. The oil temperature, or oil pressure, or the air pressure, and my coolant temperature are all right. And then you have stuff like that distracts you, no problem. But I'm looking at that quite a bit. I look at my gas gauge quite a bit. I try not to get when it starts to get to about half a tank, or anywhere between a quarter and a half. I'm trying to decide where I'm going to stop and get gas. I'm glancing at Trucker Path to see if there's anything close, because it'll follow you through GPS to let you know where you're at. And I am. I wonder if I can stay in this lane. Let's see if I can stay in this lane. But I'm conscious about that stuff all the time while I'm driving. My mirrors, I look at my mirrors, especially in the cities. I'm probably looking at my mirrors 2 to 3 times a minute. Now, when I'm on the highway, it's not as much, but in the cities, I'm glancing.
Exit 1 feet I-65 south.
Okay, no problem. I'm glancing at my mirrors pretty much, 2 or 3 times a minute. I'm watching people who are coming up on my driver's side. If I'm in a middle lane, I'm watching people on my left side. I'm making sure that if I'm going to change lane, I'm glancing at it quite a bit. Just because people they don't understand how much longer it takes to move this vehicle. You know what I mean?
3 miles ahead, take left exit 1 feet I-65 south.
I probably could have stayed in that lane, but whatever. I'm also, when I'm looking in my mirrors, if I don't have a tarp on, I'm looking at securement. I'm looking to see if yeah, see, I could have stayed in that lane. But anyway, oh, see, it cut out. But anyway, I'm looking at my securement. I'm looking at the load. I'm making sure that nothing's coming loose and none of the straps, if it's strapped, are looking like they've come loose. Making sure that the load's not shifted any, especially if I'm going around a lot of curves like I was in Kentucky this morning, or rough roads. If you've got chains on there, you want to make sure that none of the chains have bounced out or any of that stuff, because if you're using a ratchet on your chain, then you're not going to wrap that ratchet. If you're using it over the center binder, then you want to make sure that the chain's not come unwrapped from the binder. And you really don't want to drag a chain or any of that stuff. That stuff will get you pulled over really quick, because you're responsible for all the securement on this load.
Miles ahead, take ramp to I-65 south.
Okay, and making sure that you're being safe for the public. And then you've got your GPS and stuff that can distract you. And your maps and everything else, and I glance at it quite a bit. It gives us quite a bit of information where the next turns are, where we're at. But as you can hear, you can listen to her and she'll tell you. So there's quite a bit of things that you can be distracted on, and a lot of things that you got to make decisions on fairly often while you're driving. You got to keep your wits about you. So I've stopped for the night. Still had a little time left. I had an hour 34 left on my clock. I got through Nashville. Traffic wasn't too bad, but there's a Flying J right after Nashville toward Memphis, and Trucker Path said that there was lots of spots, and there were. And then there's a Pilot 96 miles down the road, and Trucker Path said there was a few spots, or some spots. So I opted to stop because I want to shower tonight. But we've got, let's see, we got 753 miles to go. We drove a little over 500 miles today. Not a bad day. But you guys do me a favor and hit that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe, and we'll be back on the road tomorrow.